I mean, were you, earlier you testified you never had a romantic relationship with her.
No, we never so much as kissed. Like we were not dating. So I didn't bring up the idea. Like I didn't want to be a creep. It came up through her. She said, "Oh, you can just pretend to be my fiance, and they'll approve us that way."
What was your thinking? What was going on in your head where she's like, well, we can pretend to be fiancés and get more money? What was going through your head?
The same thing that would go through any guy's head. Like I'm, this woman that like I've been in love with for years, and I live with. She says, "Yeah, let's pretend to be fiancés." I think my heart skipped a beat. Like I was kind of excited about it, even though I knew it was pretend, right? Even though I knew like this was just like on a loan application. Like I like the sound of it.
Did you sign or draft any documents that purported, or you both purported to be actually engaged to be married?
Yeah, together we came up with like a couple of documents. Like we came up with this story, the two of us, that we'd been dating for 6 years, and like on her birthday in 2020, like right before the pandemic, like I proposed, and that because of the pandemic, we weren't sending out like engagement notifications, and we weren't going to have like an engagement party. Like we came up with this story together.
Okay. I want to show you, but not the jury, exhibit number 17. So if you can bring that up. So let me know when you actually see it.
Yeah.
What's the date on that?
Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. It says it at the top.
And it says, who is it addressed to?
To no one really. It says to whom it may concern.
Now, at the bottom of the page, there's about a paragraph there, but at the bottom of the page, there's a couple of signatures. They look like not handwriting. They look more like electronic. Do you recognize those?
Yeah, I do. We made this thing in Word. Like in Microsoft Word, you can click to insert a signature. Like that's both of our names in cursive.
Let's see it. Your Honor, I move to admit exhibit number 17 into evidence and publish it to the jury.
No objection, Your Honor.
Plaintiff 17 is admitted.
I'm gonna do my best to make this bigger. Not very successful, honestly. Okay. Oh boy. Well, I don't think I'm having a lot of success on that, but I will read it, given that even my eyesight is a little, although I see it here. It says, Zubair and I met at Peoria High School as teenagers. We remained close friends throughout college and beyond, and in 2014 started dating. He moved in with me at my current address after about 1.5 years in August of 2015. So what part of that so far is true?
Just, not even real. I moved in July 19th of 2015. That's the closest thing to. And I guess the first sentence, we did meet at Peoria High School as teenagers.
Did you start dating in 2014?
No, we did not.
Did you become engaged on March 14th, 2020? Exactly 6 years after we started dating?
No, we did not.
In light of the pandemic, well, it goes on and says, in light of the pandemic, we haven't been actively planning our wedding and have not set an exact date yet. At this time, we are tentatively planning on September 2021. So was any of that true?
What you just read? No.
Okay. Did you ever submit this to any lenders?
Yeah, we gave this to the credit union that our mom banked with.
Do you recall the name of that?
Credit Union West, I think.
Were there any other lenders that you approached and said you were fiancés and all of that?
Yeah, so I think they worked with like different lenders. I want to say one of the papers had something called CNN Mortgage.
Now I want to show you, and again, let's take that down and put up exhibit number 18. And given the time, Your Honor, do we get to go to 4:30 or can we?
Pretty much 4:30.
All right.
give or take a minute or two in either direction.
I just don't want to, have housekeeping.
Yep.
Now, first of all, Zubair, that letter, got some electronic signatures on it. It says what it says. But there's another document that you see there. Do you recognize that on your screen?
Yeah, I do. I see it here.
What does it say at the top?
I don't know. Strange electronics glitch. We'll move on.
Somebody's objecting. All right. So it says gift letter, and it says, well, what does it say there? First of all, do you recognize this document?
I do recognize this document.
Is that your handwriting on it? Do you see the parts? It's got some blanks. So what does it say there? Has a number at the top.
Yeah, so the first piece of handwriting is 45,800. This was like a gift letter that the lender said we had to do if we were gonna co-sign like on a second mortgage together. And then that's Ioana's handwriting down below, where it says the relationship to borrower's fiance, and it has her name, Ioana Sammartinian, the address of the mothership, her phone number.
And I see another signature. It's just doesn't say much. Whose is that?
And that's mine, the ZI. Like I went by Z, like for a few years.
Okay. Your Honor, move to admit exhibit number 18 into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you.
Okay.
Plaintiff 18 is admitted.
Can you, just given a chance to look at it, it says this gift is to be applied to the purchase of the property located at 15824 North 22nd Way, Phoenix, Arizona, 85022. And it says we, donor, may have made a gift of $45,800 to the borrower's name below. Who's this gift letter to or from?
This gift letter is from Ioana to me. So if I was gonna become a co-signer on her house, like there was an issue of like who gets the equity that's already in there. Like if we're gonna both be on the title. So this was like a precondition to borrowing more money against the house.
Was any of this true that, let's see here, it says, yeah, well, specifically the part which says, and that's her handwriting, you're saying?
Yeah, that's her handwriting.
And where it says relationship to borrower, it says fiance,
Yeah, that's hers.
and none of this is true.
No, we were never engaged.
Okay. So, and we can take that off the screen. So, time's getting short, but I want to pursue this a little bit. So you try to go and apply together. So first, just to go back over it. So the sequence of events is she tried to borrow on her own.
First, she asked me if I would borrow money. I
Okay.
said I don't want to borrow on credit cards.
And then what happened?
And then she tried to borrow money and got denied because of her bankruptcy.
And then after that?
And then we did this thing where we claimed to be fiancés and we applied together as co-signers. We got denied again.
Got denied for a loan together.
We did, yeah.
Did you know why you were getting denied for a loan?
No, they never gave us like a clear reason, and I don't think they do when you get rejected on a loan. But I think again it was because of her bankruptcy. Like it had only been 4 years ago. Normally you have to wait 7 years.
All right, so it's in the middle. This is the start of COVID in 2020, essentially, June 2020. You were living in the tiny homes at the time?
Yeah, we'd been living in there for like 2 years, almost 3 years at that point.
Given that you were denied separate and then joint financing, what happened next as a way of dealing with the lack of cash in the trading account?
Yeah, so Ioana still wanted to find some way to borrow against her house. Like it was quarantine. We're both kind of stuck in the tiny houses. We weren't visiting her parents anymore. I wasn't going into the office where, you know, I could access indoor plumbing like during the daytime. And like the tiny houses were just supposed to be a step like on the way to the forest. And so she wanted to like kind of speed things up. But she still wanted to borrow money. And the lender that we were talking to, this was like right at the beginning of COVID where everyone was scared, no one was buying houses, and like that they really wanted to make a loan. So the lender called me because, you know, no one was going into offices, like everyone was like social distancing. And she said, well, you know, you and Iwan are engaged, you live together. If you really just want to borrow money, why don't you just buy the house from her? And then, you know, you'll have a lot of borrowed money. You'll have a loan in your name, and you guys will, you know, basically do what it is that you wanted to do anyways.
So the origin of this idea came from your, I don't know, mortgage broker?
Yeah.
And did you and the defendant have a discussion about, you know, what would happen if you were to purchase her home from her?
We did. We didn't write anything down again. Like, you know, I trusted her. I think she trusted me. And the deal was just supposed to be the same as before. Like just kind of flipped. Like we're going to split the profits 50-50. We're going to split the costs 50-50. Just flipped.
So, I mean, how did you come up with the idea, you know, so what happened next in terms you have this idea, I'm going to buy the house from her. How did you decide, you know, what to pay for it?
Well, I mean, we talked to her mom about it. Like her mom was like on the title, and you know, her mom knew about us pretending to be fiancés. And Iwana really sold her mom on the idea of going ahead with this. So after we got her mom's buy-in, the next thing was to figure out what price do I pay to buy this house from her. And like a house just down the street, like same build, everything had just sold for like $240,000. So he said, all right, why not 240,000? But then like when the appraisal came through, and it was a drive-by appraisal because everyone was social distancing, like they kind of drove down the street, took some pictures. The house got appraised for 225, and we're like, well, it doesn't make sense. Like if we go from 240 to 225, why don't we like have it be somewhere in the middle? And so we picked a number of 231.
And so did you have $231,000 in your personal account at the time?
No, I was still paying off like those credit card loans. So I had to apply for a mortgage.
And did you receive a mortgage?
Yeah, like I said, I had great credit. I did have to cash out my 401k again to get the down payment. They wanted $25,000 from me, so I had to cash out my 401k to get that money, and then I got approved for a mortgage for the rest of it.
So you bought the house in 2020 from the defendant?
Yeah, July 2020.
Now let's take a look just very briefly. I'd like to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 9, only to him. Do you recognize what that document is?
Yeah, I do recognize it.
What is it?
This is one of the documents the bank gave us after I got approved. It says closing disclosure in big letters at the top left, and then it has details about how much money I borrowed, 213,000. It's got the interest rate, 2.75%. There's like dates on here, July 2020, my name, her mom's name, the address of the mothership, both under borrower and seller.
Okay, let me stop you there just for a second. Move to admit and publish Exhibit number 9 to the jury.
No objection.
Plaintiff 9 is admitted.
Again, it's small, it's a little hard to see, but it says it was issued in, I believe that's September 3rd, 2020. It says a closing date of, well, the closing date was earlier, obviously, in July of 2020. The settlement agent was a Pioneer Title.
Yeah, that was I think the one we went through for like title insurance.
And so in order to buy it, you took on a mortgage of $231,000.
231 is the price I paid.
I'm sorry, 231, but it says there that there's a loan amount of 213.
Yes, that's how much money I borrowed.
Okay. So we have 9 minutes left or so, but what was the deal then? I mean, you buy the house from her, and were you aware of whether she had a mortgage on the property, that she had to take care of?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about everything. Like I knew her finances, she knew mine. And so I knew like she still had $50,000 that she owed on the house. And like after she sold it to me for 231, she got like what was left over after she paid the 50,000 and some fees. So she had 175,000 that she got.
And in getting the $175,000, do you know where that went?
Yeah, it went right into Interactive Brokers, into the trading account, because that was the deal that we had. That, the money was going to go into the trading account. Just like before, we split the profits. We're going to split the mortgage on this. And then when it all wrapped up, so we never wrote any of this down. But this is the deal, that I talked to her about. When it all wrapped up, like she had a choice. She could either walk away with 175,000, like she really sold the house, or she could buy it back from me for 231, the price that I paid for it. She could choose. And the rest of it was the same as before. Like the profits were split and the mortgage was split.
So you never had an end date in mind at that moment of, when you were going to stop this?
No, just like before, like with the arbitrage thing, like we didn't put an end date on it. Like the reverse conversion thing, just like that, we didn't have an end date on this. And, we were living in these tiny houses together in the backyard. Our lives, like I was visiting her parents every weekend. Our lives were entangled, and like I didn't see that changing in the foreseeable future.
And then you said, okay, you just testified that that you, in the future, some indefinite point in the future, she would get she would have a choice of retaining the 175,000, correct?
Yeah.
Or purchasing the house back from you at 231.
Yeah, 231, and like we could make adjustments for like, principal payments that she'd made. But like, this thing only lasted 2 years. Like in the first 2 years, 90% of your mortgage payment goes to interest. And like we both knew like that wasn't going to be an issue for a long time. But so that was the deal, right? Like she buys the house back from me at the price that I paid. That's fair. Or she treats it like a real sale and she just walks away with the 175 and stops paying the mortgage.
So this is in 2020. And, obviously this trading, and we'll get into that probably tomorrow, but the trading relationship eventually ended and you had a dispute, which has evolved into this. But I mean, in the next 2 years, the value of the house, what happened to the house? You bought it at 231 in 2020. What happened to it?
It went up. So I mean, everything went up in value over the next 2 years, which is like the really crazy thing that we're sitting here arguing about it. Like if we'd lost money, I could maybe understand why we're arguing, but the value of everything went up in value. It went up. Like the investment account went up. The house went up in value from like 231 to like 350 at one point. Everything went up in value.
Do you know what you just mentioned something in terms of the trading account? I mean, it had, just kind of to put things into boxes, it had your original 94,000.
Yeah.
It had gained about 110,000 from trading during the period of reverse conversions, because it ended up at 205 in 2017 towards the end, is what you testified.
Yep, that's right.
Then, so it's a 205, then added to that was the purchase, correct?
Yeah, the 175 she put in there. And she also took money out.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Like she took out, the 60,000 for the tiny houses, and then like the rest for the car and the pool and the stuff.
Although to be fair, I mean, you did buy the house from her and they had the tiny houses.
Yeah, that. I mean, the tiny houses didn't change the value. Like I bought the house from her the same price, like the house down the street sold for that, had no tiny houses. Like we were the only house in the neighborhood with two giant sheds in the backyard.
And you were both living in these tiny sheds throughout the pandemic?
Yep. Yeah. That's probably part of the reason why like we started to grade on each other.
Well, I mean, and we'll get into that now, at least a bit. So you buy the house from her in 2020. In terms of the trading agreement, did you continue to trade and, make stock purchases in 2020? Let's just go year by year, 2020 stock purchases.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2020, like, as far as money that we put in, the account had the 94,000 that I put in, the 175 that she put in. And if I can still do math, that comes to like 269. And we were still trading. 2020 was like a really good year. Like we just did the traditional thing of buying companies like Apple and Facebook. But I guess we bought them at the right time. It went up like 100,000 to like 350.
Okay. And then in terms of, so you have a lot of money in a trading account. You're both living in these tiny homes. The mothership, who's in there?
Her niece is living in there with her partner and two dogs.
And the niece, at this point, you own title to the house. Who's getting the money from the house?
So the niece is paying me rent.
How'd you pay?
She sent money through Venmo. So she'd sent me like a Venmo on the first of the month.
Okay. Now, you say, between 2020 and 2022, they're around each other, it's pandemic, tiny houses. In terms of your relationship, and because we only have a couple of minutes, in terms of your relationships, just sort of as a prelude, how did things change starting the pandemic? You mentioned a few things, you only have a couple of minutes, and we only have about a minute and a half, so I want to respect the court's time.
Yeah, so I mean things got tense. Like I wasn't going into the office. We weren't seeing her parents. Like our social network, like outside the two of us, kind of fell apart. She started, like as soon as travel restrictions were up, she started flying around to see P-Funk. I'm not working. I mean, the thing that sticks out in my mind the most is, and like, there's a reason it sticks out, I guess. But I got COVID like in 2021, and like the day after I tested positive, she like dropped off like some groceries. I think it was like some peanut butter and bread, and she's like, "All right, I'm going to Atlanta to go see P-Funk, and can you take care of my dogs?" And like I remember like freaking out because like when I was standing up, like the COVID that I got, like luckily I'm pretty healthy, but like when I stood up, like I'd get like a rush in my head, and like I had to sit back down, like if I didn't want to pass out. So she left me alone. I don't think I ever forgave her for that. But we still kept living together. We were avoiding each other a lot. Weren't talking. We used to like, do this thing where like at night we'd watch Star Trek together. That like went away. It was just tense.
Okay, it is 4:29, Your Honor, and 15 seconds. I think it's a moment to give the jury and all of us a break.
All right. Folks, we're going to end for the day. We'll see you tomorrow. We start up at 9:30, so show up about 10 minutes before that. And please remember the admonition. Tomorrow at lunchtime, the jury office is going to come in and talk to you about reimbursement for lost wages or compensation for the jury trial. All right, the jury's excused. We'll see you tomorrow. You can step down.
Senator, may I remove this from the podium and take a seat for a second?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to speak to us about?
Yes.
Okay.
Be seated, please. The record will show that the jury is left. I just wanted to let you all know where we are on trial time. Obviously,
Please.
most of the time was spent by Mr. Handel today. So plaintiff has used 166 with 194 left minutes. Defendant has used 13 with 347 left. That's where we stand. Anything else we need to talk about?
No, Your Honor, I think you're good.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow morning. We need to talk about anything tomorrow morning? Why don't you come around 9:15 just to make sure if there's anything we need to talk about.
Probably jury instructions.
Well, it depends on when you're giving them to me. If you're giving them to me tomorrow at 9 o'clock, then we're not going to be ready to talk about them
Fair.
at 9:15.
Fair, Your Honor.
So, yeah, come at 9:15. We'll talk about anything we need to, and I'll work on the jury instructions during the course of the day.
Thank you, Judge.
Are these the preliminary instructions, Your Honor? or you-
So these will be the finals, because we're going to need to settle those. I expect we'll instruct the jury either late Wednesday or early Thursday. So,
Okay, Your Honor, thank you.
thank you. We're in recess. Just so you know, we're officially in recess, but Sevilla hasn't come back and turned off the recorder, so don't say anything you don't want recorded.
Thank you. Right. I'm moving water cup, so I know I'm gonna say it.
Check. So I'll take.
Oh,
No, go ahead.